It's time to get out your power drill because today we're going to do a custom build on a shotgun fruiting chamber. Now you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a shotgun fruiting chamber? Derica, what the heck are you teaching me? Well, the reason why it's called a shotgun fruiting chamber is because of all the holes we're about to drill in it. Basically, it's a chamber, ta-da, with a bunch of holes to aid in your mushroom growing at home experience. Now, if you watched my previous video on kit mushroom growing at home, you may have caught the bug just like I did and want to expand your horizons on homegrown mushroom growing, which is exactly what we're doing. So this is the next phase in that. Once you've got your hands into mushroom growing, you started with the kit, you're like, I really want to do this on a bigger scale. The shotgun fruiting chamber is going to help you achieve just that. Now, this is a really simple project. What you're going to need is a chamber, which is basically just a plastic tote. Ideally, you want all of the sides, including the lid, to be clear plastic. Now, at my local big store, I couldn't find one that had a clear lid, so my lid is gray, but I did find some on Amazon. You can get them in a pack of 4, so if you have a larger area to work with than we do, you can go ahead and buy those 4 totes with the clear plastic lids, and you will be good to go on your homegrown mushroom growing adventure. You're also going to need a power drill, a 1/4 inch drill bit, a Sharpie pen or other marking device that works well on plastic, and a tape measure. You're also going to need some coarse ground perlite, and we'll get more to that in just a second. An optional thing that you can get is a hygrometer. I have linked in the description below some very inexpensive but well-reviewed digital hygrometers, and I will show you how I'm going to apply that to our shotgun fruiting chamber once we get it constructed. Alright, so the construction part is actually pretty easy. You just need to have one of these. And then once you have one of these, you want to space out your grid pattern. So I've already done that on the lid. And as you can tell, it's not exact science. Basically, you want to have a grid hole pattern of roughly 2 inches apart. And because it didn't fit evenly on this space, I did the best I could with my tape measure. I know precision is not exactly key here. You want it to not look too ugly, right? Because you're going to have to look at this. But the idea is to have enough holes in your space that air transfer can occur. And I'm going to get more into the science of how this build is going to affect your mushroom growing at home process once we get it built. So right now, I've already marked out my grid for the lid. I'm going to insert my 1/4 inch drill bit into my power drill, and I'm going to start drilling holes. The one word of caution I want to give to you about drilling holes in plastic is that if you're not careful, you can crack the plastic, thus completely annihilating your chamber, which isn't going to help you at all to grow mushrooms. So slow and steady wins the race. So you want to give it enough pressure that you're going to drill through the plastic, but not too much that you crack the plastic. So take your time, follow appropriate safety precautions, and you too can do this at your home. Alright, so I've already started drilling out the holes on my lid, and as you can see, it's actually coming along quite well. However, there's these little bits here, I don't know if you can see it from your point of view, where the plastic kind of melted and tore away, but it's still stuck. So I'm going to make sure to ream out those holes and make sure there aren't any plastic shards attached. That's going to help not cause any conflict in the airflow, because airflow is key and the whole reason why we're drilling these holes in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and finish marking all the other sides with my 2-inch grid and drilling them out, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so as you can see, I have it all measured and drilled out. It was becoming quite messy, so I did tie my hair up, take this out back, because that way I wouldn't get plastic shrapnel all over my kitchen. But now that I'm all set, I went ahead, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see, I placed some coarse ground perlite in the bottom of this. Now my perlite is stored outside and it rained recently, and so inadvertently it got pre-soaked, which is okay because that's what you want to do anyway. You want to make sure that your perlite is fully soaked with water, because the whole reason why adding perlite to your shotgun chamber is to control humidity. Once we have that established, we're going to go ahead and remove our lid and place our mushroom grow bags that have already been prepared into the chamber. Now, because these are the leftover mushroom grow bags that I had from my Back to the Roots kit, they are a smaller size than ones you might prep on your own. I will do a future video on how to prep and inoculate your own mushroom grow bags using these bags that I will link in the description below. Now, because I knew I wanted to explore further into the world of home growing mushrooms, I kept my kit bags because I knew they were still inoculated and I could probably get some more mushrooms out of them with the addition of the shotgun fruiting chamber. Now, I pretty much had these on neglect and were just sitting on a shelf, much to Brian's dismay. But because I had them out and they were in the indirect sunlight that is perfect for fruiting mushrooms, I did get a few more inadvertent crops of mushrooms from the kits already. So that was a happy accident. But now that I am trying to grow them purposefully, I want to re-soak my kit bags to make sure they're fully hydrated, place them into my shotgun fruiting chamber, and put the lid on. Now, this can simply be set as is near a window where it's going to get sunlight, but you don't want it to have direct sunlight. If you don't have a place that you can have it near actual sunlight, then you can use artificial grow lamps on a cycle of 12 hours on and 12 hours off. And you want to make sure that that lighting source is far enough away from your shotgun fruiting chamber so as not to heat the chamber, because heat and mushrooms really don't get along very well. So the thing that I haven't mentioned yet is the optional element of a hydrometer. So that's what I have here. These are digital stick-on hydrometers, and they're really simple. And what you want to look for is you want to find one that's going to be able to read humidity from the 75% to 90% range. And that's key because some of the ones that you can find don't go as high as 90% humidity. The target range for the humidity in your shotgun fruiting chamber is the 75 to 90 range, and that's why you want to make sure that your hygrometer can read that. Makes sense, right? So currently we're at a lovely 66% humidity here in the house because we're in Florida. That's really funny. These come with batteries already in them and they're all set to go. So it's just a set and play kind of deal. So I am going to place mine inside here where I can see clearly what the humidity is and what the temperature is. The temperature isn't as critical for me as is the humidity. And as I can tell, as I've already put it in here, we're already at a 77% humidity inside this chamber. So if you don't have pre-soaked perlite, as I did, what you want to do is go ahead and fill the bottom portion of your shotgun fruiting chamber with the coarse grain perlite and then soak it. You want to make sure that the perlite absorbs as much moisture as possible, but you don't want to have standing water in the base of your shotgun fruiting chamber. And this brings me to another thing. All the instructions that I read and found about creating your own shotgun fruiting chamber include having holes on the bottom side. I did not do that on mine because of the place that I want to keep it. I want to have it actually right back here behind our background, because that's where our main window that has the perfect light for growing mushrooms is, and it's positioned right above our chest freezer. So I don't want water constantly seeping onto my chest freezer, so I made sure to keep the bottom solid. If this becomes an issue, I will make sure to make a note of it in the description below. So keep an eye on the description below of all of our videos, because we put key information there and links that may help you get some of the harder to find objects that we talk about in our videos. So from this point, once we have our shotgun fruiting chamber constructed, we have our pre-inoculated mushroom grow blocks in the chamber. What we want to do is keep an eye on the humidity, make sure that this isn't placed against any solid surfaces so that it blocks the holes that we so carefully made in this. And about twice a day, I'm going to take the lid off and use the lid as a fan and simply fan my mushrooms like that, and then put the lid back on. Now, when I do that, that is the perfect opportunity for me to adjust my humidity. And the best way of doing that is simply with a squirt bottle of water. I want to make sure that I am squirting the water on the perlite and not the mushroom blocks themselves, particularly if the mushroom blocks have started pinning or are actually growing mushroom. And the reason being, direct moisture on the mushrooms themselves could cause mold and issues that you don't want. Unsightly blemishes, that'll just make them not look as their best and may cause them to abort growing altogether. We want humidity in the chamber, but not directly on the mushrooms themselves. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to fan it with a lid twice a day and adjust the humidity with a squirt bottle after each fanning session. And other than that, you're just going to sit back and wait for your mushrooms to grow. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you continue on the home growing of mushroom journey with me. Look up, there's another video that you might like equally as well. Thank you for watching.